So let's talk today about testing automation tools, layers, and aspects. Just 1 second, who am I? I'm living in Metula. Metula is the north place in Israel. We're on the border of Lebanon, surrounding by the Lebanons. Let's say our neighbors from Lebanon are much closer than our neighbors in Israel. This is my son over here and me. I'm dealing particularly with music, playing guitar, harmony, and flute, and I'm dealing with wood as well. And sometimes the things that interesting me more is first of all the future of technology. We will speak about future of test automation as well, as part of what I'm doing, but mainly I'm dealing with testing, with the testing arena for 25 years now. I started at Amdocs, if you heard about this Israeli company, they're doing billing for mobile. And I'm more than 10 years in metrics. As Rona mentioned, I'm the CTO of the division of testing, and I'm managing matrix testing and automation. Okay, so when we start to speak about testing automation, and whoever saw my presentation in the past knows that I must speak about ROI aspects before I start talking about testing automation, because I think ROI, and I mean ROI by return of investment, and I think ROI is the most critical or most crucial thing when we're speaking about testing automation. And not mainly if we begin with testing automation project, I mean from scratch, meaning there's no testing automation, and we analyze if there is an ROI or there isn't any ROI in the company for testing automation. ROI can be analyzed while we're dealing with testing automation, meaning we already started to develop, but we need to analyze all the time. What are we doing with testing automation? Does testing automation give me exactly the thing that I'm expecting testing automation to give me? And this is the way of thinking that we for years we're teaching about testing automation ROI. That you must think about ROI of testing automation whenever you're dealing with testing automation. Either it's the beginning of the project, or either you're in the middle of a testing automation project. You need to analyze all the time. There are new tools, there are new platforms, new frameworks, and we will speak about a few of them in this presentation. And what the main thing that I realized that I didn't speak about in other testing automation presentation or webinars, I didn't speak about the comparison of solutions. And I'm saying a solution and not a tool because I mean it. I think every solution has its own tool, or every tool has its own solution. But we need to understand that when we're speaking about testing automation concept, we need first of all, or during the testing automation project, we need or we must think about ROI, and we must understand what exists currently in the market. And you know, I told you that I'm dealing with future of technology, but I think that the present of dealing with testing automation is the most important thing for us, for the developers and for the testers and for the testing automation developers, and we must think right now at this place what exists in the market, and maybe we can change, and maybe we can deal with other things. Maybe we can deal in other solutions before we're running for our next solution or for our next project. So when we're talking about testing automation in the last few years, I'm dealing with testing automation for the last 25 years, but when I'm thinking about the last 10 years, so let's wait a minute and see if there is a drastic step up or change, or everything is the same or most same in the last past 10 years. Let's understand what's happening in the market. So first of all, there are a lot of new frameworks. Every day there is a new framework, and every day a testing automation developer is writing a platform that says that, hey, my platform is the best. If we consist about the main solution exists currently in the market, there is Testim.io, Playwright, Puppeteer, Cypress is very important right now. Of course, Selenium currently is the king of testing automation. But hey, guys, or hey, ladies and gentlemen, wait a moment. Selenium right now is the king of testing automation. We will speak about it, and we will see that Selenium is a solution. It's a great solution. It's a freeware solution. It's an open source solution. But wait a moment. There are a few other solutions that right now, let's say, fight with Selenium, and they give a good fight for Selenium. And I can't tell you the future because who can say what the future will be. But I can tell you that in the future, we will speak about many other solutions except Selenium. So there are a lot of new frameworks and of course, full of new tools. And everyone is developing in any language, in any coding language. There is C#, Java, Python, Groovy, JavaScript, whatever you can think about. There are tools, or there are solutions in VBScript as well. There is, whatever you can see. There is a solution in Go. There are tons of developing language that we can use in testing automation. And for sure, everybody wants it, and everybody sees their company with the solution of testing automation. But there is no innovation. I didn't know how to say it in English, so I wrote here "blow our minds," or it sounds very good in Hebrew, but it doesn't sound good in English as well. But there isn't anything that says, in the last 10 years, that says, wow, there is a revolution. Like, for instance, we saw the ChatGPT at the end of November. I'm sure all of you saw the ChatGPT, and most of you understand what kind of revolution the ChatGPT is bringing to the world. But in testing automation, there is low code, there is a codeless solution, there are a solution at the cloud, a solution that mostly goes for sure for the web and for the mobile. But there isn't anything that you say, hey, this is a revolution. I think in spite of the codeless and the low code solution that we will speak about them later on, there aren't any things that you say, wow, from now on, testing automation world look differently. And there are all things that need to be preserved. And this is the things that we're going to talk about. Just 2 words about ROI testing automation, and I'm moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think that after you develop your, I don't know, sanity set or regression set or new feature set, and you've done with the work on testing automation, you're totally wrong. When we're thinking about testing automation ROI, return of investment, we're taking under consideration that there are few parameters that we need to take in consideration. Few of them are, of course, the development, the development stage that we see here in the theory, but after the development, we got something that's called maintenance, and this is something that we need to think about. And when we're thinking about solution all the time for testing automation, we need to remember that we need to maintain our sets. We need to maintain our testing automation scripts, and this is a very important thing that we need to understand. And of course, there are other parameters like how easy to connect to other verification like database and verification for UI, and how easy to data-driven our test cases, and so on and so on. But again, maintenance and the opportunity and the ability to add our solution, our testing automation solution is more important than how much time it takes me to develop this particular script. Because testing automation should last for many years if I'm developing a set, but you know, sometimes we don't take in consideration the maintenance, and it's a problem. And again, this is exactly what we face every time we consider to begin with testing automation project. And again, it's not only a matter of ROI, it's a matter of how much I cover. It's a matter of what do I earn from testing automation. I don't want to keep the whole testing, the whole manual testing team. I want to save with resources. I want to improve my quality and all other things. And what is the current cost? Does the current cost consist payment for commercial tools? Does the current cost consist payment for developers, for Java developers, for instance, and I don't want it? And of course, can I do it on my own, or can I deliver it from the developers to the manual testers, that they will do the maintenance, that they will do the execution? This is a critical question, and more questions that we think about testing automation ROI. And again, there are tons of parameters when we're thinking about ROI parameters. There are tons of parameters, and with your permission, I will move forward, because this is not the main of this presentation. One of the most critical things when we're speaking about testing automation, this is one of the best pictures that I can see when I'm talking about testing automation. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever you think about going down in the pyramid and speaking about unit test, the unit test will cost you less, and it will be much faster. When you're going up to the pyramid, and you're facing with UI testing, it will cost you more money, because in order to develop a test automation UI script, it can take an hour. You know, there are tons of systems. I can't say this is the number, but for sure, I can say after 25 years that a UI testing, a UI business process from the beginning till the end in test automation, you know, modern tool like Selenium, Cypress, Playwright, and other can take between 2 hours to 2 days. And when I'm talking about API testing, it can take me between, 20 minutes to 2 hours. This is the difference, and you must understand it. And of course, executing tons of test cases in UI, from UI perspective, can take you much more time than API. And to maintain API set, it will cost you more and more and more. And whenever we're teaching about and we're learning about testing automation, this is one of the most critical things when we're speaking about testing automation. Whenever you can, go to the basic of the pyramid and try to do it by unit test or by API testing, and try to avoid UI. I'm not saying not to do testing automation for UI, but you need to understand that whenever you're dealing with testing automation for UI, it will cost you more and it will take much more time. And there is a new environment. It's not new. The new environment that everybody, all the world is speaking about, continuous. Continuous is a major word in the IT arena. The rush hour is here. I don't know if you ever visited in Tokyo, but in Tokyo, in Shinjuku neighborhood, there is a train station that holds more than 200 exits, more than 5 companies that running over there in this particular train station. And in the rush hour in Tokyo, at between 7:30 to 8 in the morning, there are more than 1.7 million people that goes around this particular train station. So this is what we call a rush hour. And if we take it to our area, so now we're in the rush hour because everybody's speaking about let's do it fast and let's do it correctly. And we're talking about continuous deployment. And of course, we're talking about agile solution. And there is a new term because we must have new terms in the testing or in the IT area all the time. One of the newest term that holds for I think the last 3 years is continuous testing. And continuous testing says that I need to test all the time my system. All the time that the build is running, I want to test my system. I want to run, of course, test automation, and I want the system to be tested after each stage of the continuous process or the pipe process. I want to hold testing automation, or I want to hold testing process at every stage of this continuous process or pipe or whatever you call it. So this is continuous testing, and we're saying that without testing automation, we can't hold continuous testing for sure. Okay, and this is and of course, test automation for continuous process is a must, and we spoke about it. And if we're talking about the 2 words about history, if in the past we had a dashboard like that or a scheduler like that that says that we need that our delivery will go from one point to the end to production, from the analysis, from the requirement stage till production. It will take something like half a year, 3 months, 1 year. Now, no way. Customers want delivery to be at least in 3 weeks, 4 weeks sprint or 2 week sprint, or there are companies you know, that goes to production 5 times a day. So today we got the user story mapping, coding, testing, and production. This is and continuous testing, of course, above all this process, and this is what we have today. If we see if you're dealing with DevOps, so DevOps had tons of tools, and for testing we got these tools, these automated tools for continuous testing. We got Python, we got Appium, and we got VBScript, and we can use Jenkins, and we can use Visual Studio, we can use Teams, and we can use tons of continuous testing tools for testing automation. Any questions till now? Any questions? What you writing in the chat? Oh no. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's talk about test automation framework. And when I'm talking about testing automation framework, there are few of them. In a minute we will see that. Remember the slide that I show you, that if you go to unit test, it will cost you more. Here, this slide presents the reality and the goal. Now, the reality currently in the world is not like that. We're glad about it, that UI testing is not 94% of test automation. It's less, but you know, it will take the world, I don't know, years to be here and to test only 5% of the UI and 45% of API and 50% of unit test. But you know, whoever deal with testing automation, or whoever deal with DevOps, or whoever deal with development, understand that, you know, you can't run away from it, because if we need things to be fast and things to be costless and things to be running all the time, we can't be here. We can't be on 94% of UI. API testing. I'm sure that all of you are familiar with API, but I just need to speak about it because it's here in my presentation. So just a few words about it. So what is an API? If you remember, if you saw one of my presentation in the past, I'm trying to explain the API as a waiter in a restaurant, and the waiter in the restaurant, the first thing he's doing when the customer goes into the restaurant, the waiter need to give the customer the menu, and the customer select whatever he wants to eat, right? The waiter write whatever the customer asked for him, and then the waiter comes back from the kitchen and bring back the food. Whenever you think about API, guys or ladies and gentlemen, it's exactly the same. If you see this picture of this very simple architecture, okay? When I'm asking a request, the request goes to the internet or to the web server. The web server sends the API with the request. It sends it to the application server, and from the application server, the request goes to any data source or what we call database. The data source retrieves back to the application server, and the application server sends back a response. Usually, when we send an API, and here's the sample of my client and the backend or the server, the application server, and here is the example of the restaurant. Again, the customer asks for the food, the waiter goes to the kitchen, in the kitchen they made in the food, and the waiter goes back with the food. The same goes with the client and the server. The client asks for something, for instance, I don't know, from a quote for a quote price in Amazon, sends it back to the server, and then the server usually sends back a JSON file, and the client knows what to do with the JSON file with the JavaScript that he holds in the browser, and the JavaScript know how to parse the JSON file and to present the things that you asked from the server. This is how API works. And when we're speaking about UI testing and frameworks, I separate or I divide the framework for UI testing for three parts in the pyramids. The higher part of the pyramid is open source. Open source, of course, as you're familiar of the Selenium. Framework tools. These are tools that we can download from the internet. Most of them are free, like Puppeteer, like Playwright, like Cypress, and many other solutions. This is a tool. It's not a library in Python that you can use in order to do testing automation script. It's a whole framework. It's a whole, I don't know how to call it, application. It's a whole framework for testing automation, and you can do all kinds of things with this. And the last part of the pyramid is a codeless or low code or whatever you want to call it. For codeless, we got solutions like Cloudbit. Like Cloudbit is kind of codeless, but like Testim.io, like Testcraft, like things like that. And in a minute, we're going to see a selection of a codeless solution and a comparison between them. And one of the most critical things that we are heading every time we're stepping into testing automation, and again, it doesn't matter if you're at the beginning of testing automation process or either you're in the middle of testing automation process. You all the time must know the news, and you must know if there are new solutions in the market, and you want to understand if the new solution fit for your things that you're looking for. So how to select your perfect automation for your perfect automated testing automation solution. Let's see the stages that I wrote over here. First of all, you need to understand your automation solution. You need to understand what kind of solution you got, okay? And then you need to evaluate the right the value to evaluate the right solution. When you're evaluating the right solution, there is one step that I'm missing over here in this slide, that says that you need to deeply understand the system that you're going to test. You must understand the system, and you must understand the need of the system. Is there ability for API? Is there ability to maybe it's a desktop, so it's a totally different solution, or either it's a web, but if it's a complicated web, if it's not a complicated web, does the business process is complicated? How many test cases I need to automate? There are so many questions that I need to ask myself when I'm doing this POC, this evaluate for the testing automation solution. Then we need to understand the ROI, and we spoke about the ROI, and of course to implement the best solution. And of course, the testing automation stages, first of all, we need to understand the ROI, then select the right solution, coding, debugging, and execution, and enjoy the tool, of course. So I gave you here few parameters in order to think about when you're searching for your next automation tool. First of all, who is going to deal with this testing automation solution? How knowledgeable this person or this lady, how knowledgeable he is with testing automation. What environment this solution is supporting, operating system supporting. How easy it to identify objects with this testing automation solution. What kind of coding language? You know, there are places like here in Israel at a government project, for instance, they are saying that they want solution that can use C#, for instance, because the whole system of the government or most of the systems, most of the development process in the government here in Israel are using Microsoft environment. So they don't want the testing automation, you know, suddenly to use Java or to use JavaScript or Python. You know, it doesn't fit the organization. So you need to think about coding support and coding language when you're thinking about your next automation solution. Of course, how is it to use data? We spoke about it. Reporting. What kind of reporting we can use? We know that that we got Elastic today, and we got Allure, and we got tons of solution. We got the Fido that we're developing in TopQ here in our division in Matrix Global. We are developing a solution for reporting, but there are tons of solutions. What is the reporting solution that fits our needs? Of course, execution abilities. Can I execute from the cloud? Can I go to the cloud from my organization, from my company? If I'm going to the cloud, with what I'm synchronizing with Jira, I'm synchronizing with X-Ray, I'm synchronizing with Zypher, I'm synchronizing with other tools that I'm using during my CI/CD process. There are so many things that I need to think about. Support backend and frontend. We spoke about that we want to consider or we want to achieve as much as API testing as we can. So we need to take into consideration that we want a solution for backend and frontend. Test performance. Sometimes it's very, very important for us. Can we measure our transaction during execution of testing automation? For some organization, it's critical. And of course, the budget. And remember that the budget consists of how much I pay for the testing automation developer and how much I pay for commercial tools. Just think about it. And testing automation tools. Let's talk about web testing. Of course, we're talking about, what's the time? Oh, okay. We're okay with the time. So when we're talking about web, so of course, Selenium and Selenium 4 with the king of UI testing currently, right now, Selenium. But guys, Selenium is a library. It's not a tool. It's not a framework. It's a library. You know, you can call it a tool, but it's a library that you can use this library. It's a marvelous solution, but again, it's only a library. Currently, in Selenium 4, there is a huge change that Selenium 4 is supporting the WebDriver API, and we don't need to upgrade the WebDriver whenever the Chrome browser is moving forward. We can use the same WebDriver all the time, so this is a huge advantage. The new version of Selenium has native support for DevTools for F12. So it's you can take all kind of parameters from the DevTools during your script, and it can be very helpful during the execution. It supports relative locators. If you got all kinds of complicated locators, and you want to relative those locators from above, from below, from the right, from the left, you can use it in Selenium 4. And of course, it's running with different browsers right now in Selenium 4 and running in different tabs. And these are the critical new features in Selenium 4. When we're speaking about a framework for automation tools, either we got commercial tools like Ranorex, or Catalan is cost money only for test complete, cost money for users, or we got a solution like Cypress and Playwright and Puppeteer. And Puppeteer is here at the company at this picture. So these are what we spoke as frameworks or web testing automation tools, different than Selenium. And if we talk about if we're talking about automation less or codeless or low code or anything you want to call it, so if you ask the question why to go to codeless testing, for the last, I think, 3 or 5 years, I'm trying to present my customers all the time codeless and low-code solution. If you're asking me, I think this is the future, okay? I don't think there is any reason manual tester can hold test automation, can develop testing automation, can maintain testing automation, can execute testing automation. Otherwise it's useless, of course, at the API side or at the backend side, and for sure for the UI side as well. And we see more and more companies go to a solution like Cucumber and Testim.io and Testcraft and the other, and Oxygen or Cloudbit as well. So why to use codeless automation? Because we want manual tester to deal with coding as well. We want manual testers to deal with developing, with maintenance, and with execution. And of course, for developers as well, a developer is dealing with code and dealing with development almost all his life. But when he wants to do, faster and easier testing automation, he doesn't want to deal, okay, I need to download it, I need to import this library, and this library doesn't consist, so I need to write the code, and guys, come on, he wants a tool that he can use all the time, and he can maintain it very, very easily. If something is not working or something is failing, he can delete the test case and create it from the beginning. And to create a test case will take him, I don't know, half an hour or 25 minutes, and not, half a day or a whole day. So developers want an easy solution as well. Of course, the codeless and low-code solution consists with with the most progressive solutions like cloud-based testing and SaaS solutions and things like that. And this is what the world is looking right now. And again, if we're talking about codeless tools, Testcraft, Testim.io, Oxygen, Cucumber, there are tons of codeless solution right now. And you know, I'm preventing, or I'm holding myself not to speak about ChatGPT, because I'm sure you're all familiar with ChatGPT. I must tell you that ChatGPT is the approval that, you know, if I'm looking at my area or my professionality of testing automation, so I think ChatGPT is the approval that that people that doesn't know code at all can take a requirement document, maybe not in ChatGPT 3, maybe in ChatGPT 4 and 5, it will be more accurate, but they can take a requirement document and put it in the ChatGPT, and he will give you the code of how to do test automation, for instance, for API in Python. Okay, and when we talk about desktop application, today we had a presentation about desktop application solution for test automation, and we spoke about what is desktop application. Desktop application can be, I don't know, a Word, Excel, or any other all the thing that you're familiar. An application that connect to your operating system. There are a few solutions. The old and good solution like UFT and Ranorex, open source and free solutions like Robot Framework and Winium and Sikuli. If you're talking about web screening or screen solutions, there are solutions like Sikuli. And if we're talking about test runners by a programming language, so if we're talking about, for instance, Python, then PyTest is very popular. In Java, we're familiar with TestNG and JUnit. In C#, we're familiar with NUnit and MS Test. And JavaScript, we're familiar with Karma and Jasmine and Jest and so on and so on. Talking about mobile testing, there are few solutions for mobile. Of course, whoever deal with testing automation saw the Appium solution. The Appium solution is the open source solution or the freeware solution that we can use in order to do testing automation for mobile for free. Other solutions like Perfecto that holds a lab as well for mobile and gives us inside the platform, inside the solution, it gives us a solution for testing automation for mobile as well. Cloudbeat is a interesting solution for mobile. In 2 minutes from now, we will speak about the comparison between the two. So I want I said enough regarding testing automation for mobile, and of course API testing automation tools. So we got the king of API testing automation tools is Postman, but again, Postman is good for one thing, it's not good for other things. Many places and many projects we implemented the JMeter for testing automation for API. SOAP UI was kind of the first one that gave us a solution for SOAP API, and currently, of course, is supporting REST as well. Swagger is a solution, but it's a solution that fits particularly for developers and not for testing. And LoadMill is a very interesting solution. I recommend you, Of course, we will send you the presentation afterwards, and if you want to drill down, I recommend you, if you want to go, for instance, to Test Automation API, and you're looking for a solution, please go at this slide over here and just analyze those tools, because it's very, very interesting. And of course, one more thing I can't skip, that we are speaking about Visual Solution, sorry. And I'm sorry for the Hebrew over here, because I didn't find any other in the paper. I didn't find any other things in English. But Applitools is a solution for visual testing. It means that Applitools separate between the verification point to the business process. A minute, I will tell you about the concept or the philosophy of testing automation. The philosophy of testing automation says that you need to understand first what is the business process that you need to automate. This is the first thing that you're writing in your script. And afterwards, you understand what you need to verify. And when we're speaking about Applitools, Applitools says, if you are a testing automation developer, you are responsible to develop the business process automation process. But I'm responsible, meaning Applitools, I'm responsible for the whole verification things. How does he do it? He's picturing the page. If we work in web, for instance, he's picturing the page. He uploads the page to the cloud, and then he creates a baseline, and he compares the baseline all with every execution. And if there is any different, he just he just holds the script and he says, he alerts you and says, hey, there is a different. The most critical thing about Applitools, that Applitools, the solution of Applitools can analyze the page, or can analyze the difference between one page to another from text perspective and from layout perspective. Meaning that if you got any problem with the layout, you can just test the layout, and if you got any problem with the text, you can compare only the text of the picture. And this is very interesting solution. If you need any other, if you're not familiar with Applitools, go ahead and just write me, and I will send you anything that you need to in order to understand what is the Applitools solution. But this is one of the very interesting things when we're talking about a UI solution. So now let's begin with the party. Let's start a comparison between the tools. So we spoke about web open source UI tools. I brought you here the most critical solutions that we got right now in the market. So I separate it here for few objects or few parameters. One of them is object identification. We spoke about it, how easy it to identify an object via your developing process. Coding languages support. It means it supports only JavaScript, or it supports Java, C#, Python, Groovy, everything that you need. What is the reporting abilities? What is the ability to connect to CI/CD? And if we can do any test performance with this solution. So when we're talking about Selenium, these are the grades that Selenium got. If we're comparing to Playwright, these are the scores that I gave to Playwright. You can see it's almost the same. Playwright has a function that you can use in order to test your test performance. So that's the reason for the difference over here. And if we're talking about Cypress, Cypress is a great solution. Guys, don't mistake. If Cypress got performance 1 star, it's because not because the execution take time, because in order to load Cypress it can take 1 minute, because Cypress is loading many things during his upload, but afterwards it's fine. But the execution abilities is much better than, of course, than Selenium and Playwright. Cypress has his own execution abilities, and he's got APIs in order to synchronize with other solutions as well. The reporting of the inside reporting of Cypress is very good, and Cypress support only JavaScript. In many organizations, this is what they need. So, you can consider it as a problem, but, it depends on the organization. And if we're comparing commercial tools, RunORX is a great solution, but RunORX it fits for C#, and this is the only language that it can take. But you can see that the scoring of RunORX is very high. If we're speaking about UFT was most of you are children, and you're not familiar with QTP and UFT and Windrunner and all those old solutions for testing automation. But UFT was the king of testing automation in the past. I'm speaking about 15 years ago, or 10 years ago, something like that. UFT still exists and still kicking out. But again, UFT, the developing language of the UFT is VBScript, so it's very, very old and very weak. The test performance, meaning the test execution of UFT, it was good for the past, but not for today. If we're speaking about Catalan is very interesting solution. I think you need to look at it when you're looking about the testing automation solution. And the Tricentis Tosca. By the way, Tricentis Tosca, we will speak about Testim.io in a minute when we talk about low code and codeless solution. So Tricentis has bought. They purchased Testim.io 1 year ago. So now Testim.io is part of the solution of Tricentis. So Tricentis Tosca is a very interesting solution. I don't want to drill down about the Tosca solution, but I recommend you to understand what is the Tricentis Tosca solution. It's very, very interesting. They're recording the UI, and they shift the UI code to API, and then the script is much more maintainability, and the execution is much faster. But I recommend you to look at Tricentis if you're looking about commercial tools for web. And we spoke about the codeless. So Testim.io, as I said a minute ago, was bought by Tricentis. And Testim.io has a machine learning engine inside of it, and it's a very, very interesting solution. Again, if you're looking for a codeless or low-code solution for your web application, I deeply recommend you to look at the Testim.io solution. Testcraft was bought by Perfecto Mobile. Perfecto Mobile is one of the solutions for mobile. So now Testcraft is the codeless solution inside Perfecto. I think you see the solution, and when you see if the solution is working or not, and the companies that implemented the Testim.io or Testcraft, I think Testim.io is better than Testcraft currently. And Cucumber is a very interesting solution. You know, you can take Cucumber and use it for BDD, for behavior-driven development. And behavior-driven development means that you write in English whatever you want, whatever you want your script to do. So this is very interesting solution. And we implemented few projects with Cucumber with a huge successful. And I think if you're looking at the UI codeless solution, I think you need to look at Cucumber as well. When we're speaking about desktop test automation, now look, UFT has the advantage that it's an old tool, and you know, in the past, 15 years ago, many applications were desktop applications, so it support object identification very good. Again, it got VBScript, and it's an old one, and the performance is not so good. But again, if you're looking for a desktop application, I recommend you to look at it. Winium and WinApp Driver is very interesting solutions. Again, the scoring is what is from my experience. These are two very interesting libraries. We implemented the WinApp Driver in few projects, and it works. It worked for desktop application, and it worked perfectly. You must analyze the environment, your desktop environment, in order to understand that the Winium or either the WinApp Driver is good for you. But again, if it's good for you, then it can be a very good solution. And of course, Ranorex, as I said before, for the commercial of the web tools, Ranorex is very good tool, very future tool. They maintain the tool very closely, Ranorex, and they're giving all the time new features. But again, if it's a .NET environment, C# environment, Ranorex has a huge advantage over there. For others, I don't know, for SAP or for a Java application and things like that, I don't think that Ranorex has the advantage, for instance, on the UFT. But again, you need to consider that when you're talking about desktop application. UiPath is an RPA solution that has a feature that says that, hey, I'm not an RPA, I'm a testing automation solution. And UiPath declare themselves as a low-code, as a codeless automation solution. And I think if you're talking about, and from the reason that it's an RPA solution, you need to understand that UiPath support almost all the environments, and of course the desktop environments, and he got the ability, and I think it's a very interesting solution, and you need to look at it when you're looking about testing automation for desktop. Let's move to mobile, and I'll go about it fast. Again, there is Perfecto Mobile, and Perfecto Mobile holds a lab as well, his own independent lab. Cloudbeat synchronizes with Source Lab and with Cross Browser and other labs that exist in the network, but he doesn't have his own lab, and the Cloudbeat can work on a mobile that connect physically to your computer. You know, it's an advantage, it's a disadvantage. I'm not doing the POC right now. I'm just giving a scoring, or I'm just explaining the scoring that I gave to all the solutions. And of course, Appium, ladies and gentlemen, Appium, the open source and the one that doesn't cost any money, I think it's very interesting to see it. Now, the last one is the API testing tools. Postman consists currently as the low-code or codeless, almost codeless solution for API. You need to code, in JavaScript if you want to add to the testing to the test module, but it's not the main part. Almost everything you can do, with the application features. So I think it's very, very important. If you're looking about LoadMill, one of the advantages that LoadMill have, if you get a set of APIs and you want to execute API one by one, and one of the APIs is sending parameters to the other API, LoadMill has a solution for that, and very easy solution. So I think it's very, very important to look at LoadMill when you're looking for a automated API solution. And of course, as I said, SOAP UI was the first one to give solution. SOAP UI support also SOAP and REST very easily, and I think that the solution is good. But you can see the score is almost the same for the whole three. I couldn't hold myself when I saw this, when I practice at this presentation today morning, and I asked ChatGPT what he thinks about the API tools, and you see that after it took him time to think, but after 10 or 15 seconds, what for me took almost 15 years to learn, it took the ChatGPT almost 15 seconds to answer me and to give me a full table with all the details, that I ask, with the comparison of test automation tools for the comparison of who is the best solution or who is better than the other. ChatGPT is the future. Don't prevent yourself to use it. Asking questions, he will give you answers. You need to check him, but again, if you think that I'm not using ChatGPT because it will take my professional, no, it won't take your professional. If you're good enough, everything is okay. ChatGPT is the future, or the solution or the concept of ChatGPT is the future, so use it. If you want to do a POC and you think, what is the best tool for me, you can use this presentation as well, but you can use ChatGPT as well, because he will give you a solution very, very quickly. And last, just a surprise, I wanted to show you this movie, and afterwards questions, and you can go and start your working day, or I don't know what you're going to do right now. Just look at this movie and look at this solution. For years, we dream about testing automation solution that will sit on production and will see and will understand the main business processes that holding production, and will do from it a test automation process or a test automation set that I can take afterwards and run as a regression set for my CI/CD process. Okay. By the way, this picture I just downloaded today from DALL-E 2. So right now I will stop the sharing, and if you got any questions, please You're more than welcome.
I have a few questions.
Yes, sure.
Okay, you already mentioned a few of them just briefly. The first one was, my first question is regarding the RPA tools for UI testing. You mentioned UiPath as low code or no code. So what do you think is the future of the RPA tools when implemented for low code? I'm talking specifically because what I'm working for right now is Nintex, previously Cryon, and we have RPA tool and task mining tool, process discovery, which is pretty much the same thing as what you've shown in this video, what you finished with, but it's on a different level, but it's doing pretty much the same. It's just task mining, and then you just suggest processes, and that can be used for automation, and that could be pretty good. It just needs minor tweaks, obviously, a few more years. So what's your opinion on this?
I think you know, I had a customer, a big bank here in Israel, that I was consulting over there for testing automation, and they said that they are using your solution for RPA. And I asked the testing manager, why don't you use this RPA solution for testing automation? They tried it. They tried to implement it for a few months, and it was too heavy. It was too complicated. Currently, I think what you're saying about the RPA, about connecting between the RPA solution and the testing automation solution, for sure, it will move forward. You know, UiPath has declared that they get a feature or add-in for testing. Your company didn't say so, but I know that the company that you work with, they want to implement their RPA for testing as well. And I think in the future we're going to see more and more RPA solution looking at testing automation as a testing automation solution, because as you said, you're totally right. If I'm dealing with RPA and I'm either recording or either developing my business process in production, why not? And I'm already automate them. Why not to use them in the testing environment? It's to use Selenium, for instance, in order to test the testing environment. So it's unreasonable. I think you're totally right. This is the direction, I think. But Parasoft has taken it one step forward when they say that they are recording the business process, shift it to API testing script, and then they execute it as testing. So yeah. I think what you're thinking or what you're speaking about is totally right, and this is the direction we're going to see more and more RPA solution in the testing automation area.
That's actually I work for the PD side, the process discovery, which is actually the recording side, and analyzes everything. The other one is you mentioned Cucumber, but there is a specific language called Gherkin used in Cucumber. So what do you think about automation ready tests from the get-go? So when QAs are writing test cases, what if they make them automation ready from the beginning instead of just writing a test case and then the automation guy just thinking about what this case means? Or I can just write them in Gherkin straight away, and the automation developer just looks at this and then implement them straight away. Because Gherkin tests are a little bit harder to write, but they're very self-explanatory if you read them. So what's the importance of that in automation tests, or does it really matter?
You know, the most important and critical point over here is that the future, currently whoever dealing with Cucumber, and I must tell you that there are, you know, I can say many places are doing it very successfully. And they are using, you know, kind of English in order to do their testing, and this is what we want to achieve. We want the tester to operate their mind and their thinking about business process or complicated business process, and you know, to code the test case, it will be nothing. So this is the purpose of Cucumber, and I think, by the way, UiPath, they pronounce themselves as a codeless solution. I don't think they are codeless, but you know, that's what they're saying. They got a way to go over, you know, in order to be a perfect. But you know, this is the target, or this is the goal. To give the tester to be the mind of the test case, and you know, the code or the English or the gherkin or whatever you call it, to be nothing. This is what the future is.
And lastly, what do you think is the importance of a test management system as a precondition for the automation? Because in some places, people still use spreadsheets from Confluence or something like this instead of actual test management system where they can structure whatever, regression, sanity, you name it. So let's say X-ray, because I heard you mentioned it earlier.
You know, it's not a precondition, but I think you agree with me that it must be one of the parameters when you're thinking about test automation solution, right? You think about test automation solution, you can say, okay, I'm using Jira, but I don't care about the Jira because test automation is one part and Jira is... No. If your Jira or your Zypher or your X-Ray or your Confluence or whatever, or TFS, this is your solution for holding the test cases, the manual test cases. This is your solution for reporting. This is what your managers is looking at. You can't say, okay, I don't care about it. You know, you need to contribute with this, and I think it's very, very important. And I saw many organizations. That after they completed the development stage of testing automation, they just went, oh, I'm using Jira, now I need to develop an API that will speak with the Jira whenever there is a defect in the UI, and to give the screenshot and things like that. So I think you must take it under consideration whenever you use any test management tool. So when you're thinking about the solution.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.